Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I wanted to jump on real quick. I literally have about 40 minutes of free time, and I won't be taking calls or anything, but I wanted to just catch up on some stuff. There's a lot going on in the boxing world, and so I wanted to catch up on a few things, review some recent fights, preview what's coming up this weekend, because there's some big news that's going to drop in boxing soon, in coming days and weeks, maybe even coming days. So the next show that I do, I want to be able to dedicate to that. Okay. Um, I'm not at liberty to discuss. I'm not going to talk about, divulge the things that I've heard from sources I've talked to. You guys, I'm sure, have seen some of the rumors going around on X and on YouTube and all of that. So you guys know my style. I'm not going to talk about rumors and stuff like that. I'd rather wait till things are concrete and confirmed, right, and official. So I'll talk about, but there's going to be some interesting things dropping soon, and it's going to have an effect on the business that we're going to be talking about because it's going to deal with large platforms and large stars. Okay, but lots of good stuff going on. Fights coming together to discuss, and I wanted to hit on that real quick today. Jack Alter in the chat, Trey Anner in the chat. What's up, guys? Yeah, look, I didn't announce this. I literally just asked my wife like 5 minutes ago, hey, can I go on real quick? Because we got some free time for a few minutes. So anyway, it's going to be a quick show. Most of you guys are going to be seeing this, hearing it way later. Hopefully a few of you can catch it live. I appreciate all of you on here. Chris Bergen's on. I appreciate it, guys. But and as always, by the way, I should mention this is TNC 368. Click the notification bell. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Okay. All right. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney for April 20th. This will be Haney. I believe it's his first defense of the WBC junior welterweight title that he won off of Regis Prograis. And this is probably going to be in Las Vegas on the DAZN pay-per-view. So, look, I have to give both of these guys credit, but I got to give Ryan Garcia even more credit. Ryan Garcia is one of the biggest brands in boxing. I didn't say he's one of the best fighters. I said he's one of the biggest brands in boxing. And, you know, obviously that's due to his social media presence and all that. But I mention it because he could fight anybody he wants and he'll do numbers. Now, he's not going to do huge numbers like he did with Gervonta Davis. He needs to fight a fighter on that level to get those huge numbers. But he can pretty much fight whoever he wants and get his guarantee. And yeah, he can just live in that world. But he is choosing to challenge himself. With Gervonta Davis, I think that he bit off a little more than he could chew, and he maybe made the deal with the devil there to get some cash and to get to that next level, next stratosphere of stardom, whatever it was. But that fight didn't go well for him, obviously. This fight against Devin Haney, and this is where I'm going to start giving Devin Haney some credit too. This fight with Devin Haney, there's no catch weight. There's no limitations, rehydration clauses. Haney's not going to tell Ryan Garcia what he can eat or drink, which literally Gervonta Davis and Floyd Mayweather did. They literally told him what he could eat or drink. They're not going to get that crazy, right? Devin Haney is going to fight him straight up at 140. So let's give Devin Haney credit for once again doing what Gervonta Davis would never do. You know, Haney traveling to Australia twice, signing a deal with Arum to get the fights with Kambosos, fighting Lomachenko, a guy that Tank ducked. And I know everyone's like, why you got to bring up Tank? Because it's relevant here. I love, look, there's the Fab Five, right? There's, that's just my nickname for him, but Ryan Garcia is one of them, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez. Boom. Those five guys are young American stars in and around the same weight classes. The only ones who have fought multiple fighters in that list is now Ryan Garcia. So I give him a lot of credit. That being said, I rate him 5 out of those 5 fighters, just in terms of his ability. He's the 5th best of them. I don't know if if Ryan Garcia is ever going to win a legitimate world title. He might get a regular, an interim, some crap like that, but I just don't know if he's on that level. Who knows, though? Maybe he'll look spectacular in this fight against Devin Haney and have a fantastic performance and win and shock the world and prove that he really is a legitimate elite level fighter. But my money is on Devin Haney by decision. I think that this will be a more competitive fight than Garcia's fight with Davis. And a lot of that's going to have to do with him just being healthy. But it's also a contrast, different styles. Haney doesn't punch very hard. He's not a power punching guy. He doesn't go for the kill. He's going to have a healthy fighter that he's facing. He's not going to be able to take advantage of injuries and things like that, like Gervonta could. And so I see this going to distance. I don't know if it's going to be a terribly exciting fight, but I like Haney points here. And this is another brand building thing for Team Haney as they are on their way to the welterweight division. He's going to be at welterweight sooner than you guys think. Okay. Also, last show I did was last Friday, and we just found out that Tyson Fury had cut himself over the right eye, I believe it is. And that's that same eye he's cut multiple times in different fights, right? And so when I did that show, I went live, we talked about it. We didn't have any information at that time. We didn't know how bad the cut was. Is it going to require surgery? How long's the recovery? When can they fight? Are they going to fight? At that point, I'm like, is Tyson Fury going to fight again? Like, I just didn't know how bad the cut was. Okay, within about 48 hours, we had answers from His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, who announced that they have rescheduled the fight for May 18th. Same undercard they were going to have before. They just moved the entire show to May 18th. So we've got to wait, 3 more months? And that fight was supposed to happen this weekend, right? Supposed to happen this weekend. I was really hyped about that card. Love the promo. You guys remember my video on that. So now it's 3 months out. The question, and we'll talk more about this as the fight gets closer. You know, I hate that it throws both guys off their natural training rhythm. Usyk has been jerked around for the last couple of years trying to win the Tyson Fury sweepstakes and get that undisputed fight that he's so desperately has wanted. I do wonder if that's going to cost him. We'll find out. But again, I go back to the example of Gennady Golovkin with Canelo Alvarez and him kind of sitting around and letting Canelo dictate terms and get him off of his rhythm and all of that. He didn't seem as sharp to me going into that rematch. And after that, his career is completely stalled out. So I hope that's not what's happening here. We'll see. My biggest question, though, is Tyson Fury's cut going to be healed enough? I don't know. Again, he's cut that eye multiple times. There's several fights I could think of where he's busted that eye open. So if I'm Usyk, again, remember, Usyk is a southpaw. So he's coming with he's not coming with a straight right hand. He's coming with a straight left hand, or he can loop it. I would go right after that eye. That's the first place I would go if I'm him. I'm jabbing my way in to the chest, getting underneath Fury's shots and looping those left hands right at that eye. We'll see what happens. Here's the thing, guys. 2 weeks after that, literally 2 weeks after that, on June 1st, Turki Al-Sheikh has announced that Artur Beterbiev is going up against Dmitry Bivol, also in Saudi Arabia. Here's the kicker. That is regular ESPN. You heard me right. According to Bob Arum in the United States, that will not be a pay-per-view. That will be regular ESPN, ESPN Plus. So those two fights within 2 weeks of each other. Now, remember, this is the undisputed heavyweight championship, the undisputed light heavyweight championship. 3 of the 4 fighters in those 2 fights are pound for pound level guys, dudes on most people's pound for pound list. So that's a big deal. I also find it interesting that those 2 fights, which are clearly the biggest fights of the year, they're going to be overseas. They're not taking place in the United States. I think that is very telling. And it's indicative of some things we'll be talking about in pretty soon in the coming days and weeks as certain news drops. But now here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez. Now, his name is going to be very relevant in the news coming up. But generally speaking, he likes to fight around Cinco de Mayo weekend, right? He's the biggest, most bankable star in the sport of boxing. Forbes, highest paid athletes. Canelo's always in the top 10, top 5. I think he's been the top guy a couple of times, right? So he's the most bankable star in the sport. And if you're promoting Canelo, or nobody really promotes Canelo, nobody has for a while, he kind of is his own thing. Promoters work in association with Canelo. Okay, put it to you that way. That's the way to handle business with him. Matchroom did very, very well because that's how they approached it. They did well with their contract with Canelo. You're basically working in association with him, and those promoters and just the business of boxing in general, they love to have Canelo fight around Cinco de Mayo and then Mexican Independence Day. Right now, there are rumors about, and again, I'm not going to divulge too much here, but I'll just give you guys the possible names that are being thrown out there. I have a very strong feeling which way this is going to go because of people I've talked to. But again, we'll save that conversation for later. If Canelo Alvarez fights around Cinco de Mayo, which this year it will be Saturday, I think is the 4th. If he actually fights on that date, now nothing's been announced, but if he does, guys, within 1 calendar month, May 4th, you get Canelo, the biggest star in the sport, versus fill in the blank. 2 weeks later, you get Fury Usyk. 2 weeks later, after that, you get Beterbiev Bivol. All 3 of those are for undisputed championships: super middleweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight. 3 undisputed championship fights within 4 weeks, 4 calendar weeks, 1 month. I cannot think of any time in my lifetime that that's ever happened. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal. That's going to be a hell of a month for boxing fans. Now, obviously, Canelo's fight will be pay-per-view. So you're going to have to buy two of those shows will be pay-per-views. But the other one comes with your ESPN Plus subscription. So, I mean, you're paying for that in a sense, but you're not paying extra, right? So you're going to have to pay, and it remains to be seen. We don't know yet. How about this? We don't know yet which platform Canelo will be fighting on. I'll just say that. We don't know where that fight's taking place, but the names being thrown around. Terrence Crawford. We've heard that name. We've heard Jermall Charlo, not Jermell, but Jermall. We've heard Jaime Munguia. We've heard David Benavidez. Now, I can tell you guys who I want to see Canelo fight. You know, a lot of you guys are talking about Canelo versus Benavidez, and a lot of people are suggesting that Canelo's avoiding Benavidez or he's going to duck him. Here's my thing with David Benavidez. He has nobody to blame but himself and his management. He chose to re-sign with his current management when he could have went another direction. He could have signed with a different promoter a while back. And because he did that, it's limited his career. He also chose to be a moron in his personal life and lose his title because of stupid decisions he made in his social life. And had he had that WBC world title when Canelo was with Matchroom and trying to become undisputed at 168, Benavidez would have got his fight at that point. And let me tell you, if Canelo had fought all the other guys for all the other belts and then not fought Benavidez, that would have looked like a duck. That would have been seen in very, very negative light among boxing fans, even diehard Canelo fans. And the Mexican media would have really, really heavily criticized him. But Benavidez didn't have a belt. So Canelo didn't need to fight him. And he was able to fight all the other guys and get all the belts. And it's Benavidez's fault. So I don't feel bad for him. I don't. And if Canelo Alvarez never fights David Benavidez, honestly, at this point, I don't give a shit. I just don't. Now, do I want to see the best fight the best? Yes. But I'm going to get to that because there's actually the best fight at 168 is not Canelo versus Benavidez. You got it twisted. That's not the best fight. I'll tell you which one it is. But first, Canelo versus Munguia. Now, a lot of fans in America may not see Munguia as a big star, but from my sources in the Mexican media and people I talk to down there all the time, Jaime Munguia is more popular down there than David Benavidez. And a fight between Munguia and Canelo gets the Mexican whales, the Mexican money involved in a different way than Canelo Benavidez. That's what I'm hearing. When I say Mexican, I don't mean Mexican American. I mean Mexican, okay? Bringing in the whales and the money from down there, Munguia is going to bring more of that action than Benavidez. That's what I've heard. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my sources are wrong. We'll find out. But if that fight were to come together, okay? If we see Canelo versus Munguia, I won't say when. I'll say if right here. If that fight happens May 4th, then I think maybe we'll have some of my friends from the Mexican media and stuff come on the show, and we'll talk to them about just how big that fight is down there, because I think a lot of American fans are just unaware of how popular Munguia is. Okay, anyway, so a fight between Munguia in the United States may not sell as many pay-per-views as a fight against Benavidez, but then again, maybe it does. But globally, especially in Mexico, it's probably seen as a bigger fight because it's between two Mexicans. Canelo versus Benavidez is a Mexican versus an American. Yeah, he's Mexican. I get it. He's American. He's a Yankee. So it's still Canelo versus an American. Canelo Munguia, Mexican versus Mexican. Big deal. Then Canelo versus Crawford. Now that's being tossed around. Do I want to see that fight? No, not particularly. I really don't. Do I think Crawford will give Canelo more problems than Charlo? Absolutely. For several reasons, but mostly just because he's a much better fighter than both Charlo brothers. The Charlos have always been overrated. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I say overrated in that people consider them, some people with agendas, consider them pound for pound elite level fighters. They're not. They're just short of that. They're very, very good. They're just not great. Crawford obviously is. So I do think Crawford would give Canelo problems, but guys, I mean, that's a 3-division jump. And I get it. Canelo is long in the tooth. He has missed a step. Canelo 3, 4, 5 years ago would have stopped Jermell Charlo. He would have cut him down and stopped him. Not the same guy right now. So Crawford has a chance, but I got to favor Canelo in that matchup. And it's very interesting. And if Crawford could pull it off, he'd be undisputed at 40, 47, and 68. That really puts him in some historical really highly up there historically. It puts him in a different class. But if he doesn't, and Canelo just kind of has another decision win, okay, both guys make a lot of money. Crawford makes a career high payday. Okay, great. But what does it really do for the sport? I don't know. And then the one other name is Jermall Charlo, who, that fight just is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And shame on PBC for putting Canelo up against Jermell Charlo. It's part of why they're in the situation they're in right now. Just, again, you guys have seen some of the rumors. Okay, so Jermall Charlo's out. Who do I want to see Canelo fight? I want to see Canelo Munguia. That's what I want to see. That is, of those 3 fights, that's the best fight. And then maybe the other 2 are, all of them are good fights, okay? But maybe you build to the other one. So like you do the Munguia fight first and you build to either the big Crawford clash or the Benavidez fight. Also, Benavidez, truthfully, they can fight next year. If I'm Canelo and I'm in charge, I'm going to wait him out even longer. I'm just telling you guys the business, and force Benavidez to keep making weight at a very unnatural weight for him. He's a cruiserweight that melts down to 168 in a very unhealthy way. So all that being said, the best fight in terms of action and being the 2 top guys in their prime at the peak of their careers, the best fight that you can make at 168 right now in 2024. Are you ready for this? It is David Benavidez versus Jaime Munguia. That is the best fight between the top two super middleweights right now. Canelo's the champion. I get it. But he's on the downslide of his career. Now, look, I'd probably favor Canelo to beat both those guys, honestly, until I see a detrimental amount of slippage in Canelo. I'd probably still favor him to beat those guys, but it's going to be tough, real tough. And he could lose to either one of them legitimately. I actually think Crawford's the easiest fight of the three for him from a physical standpoint. But just in terms of styles, where both guys are at in their career, and then you have a potential for a second or third fight between these two, Benavidez Munguia. Why is nobody talking about that? Why is nobody talking about that? I get it. Different promoters, different platforms they fight on, although Benavidez might not have a platform soon to fight on. But either way, I'd love to see that fight. And I just personally think, like, of all the matchups I can make at 168, that's the one I'd like the best. And oh, by the way, no calls today, guys, because I'm not going to be on very, very long. I don't have much time, so we're not doing any calls here. But that's the fight I want to see, man. That's really what I'd like to see. And it surprises me that, like, no one's talking about, like, no one's mentioned it. I haven't heard anybody mention Munguia versus Benavidez. Why? We should be talking about that fight. Canelo's a superstar, but Canelo's at the point in his career where that Canelo-Crawford fight is kind of the direction he probably wants to go in, okay? And it's understandable. But if we can get, not that I want to see it, I'm just saying, if we can get Munguia and Benavidez to fight, man, that'd be fun as hell. That'd be fun as hell. All right, super chat from USC Trojans Own. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it, Sam. She says, hey, Mike, any new Canelo news leaving the Petchit? I don't know. It could just be me because I'm illiterate. I don't know what that word is. I'm not going to divulge, again, what I've heard, but there will be some announcements coming up very soon that are going to be interesting and have an effect on the business of boxing in America. I'll just put it that way. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you to Sunil Demon with the super chat. Thank you so much, Demon. He says, thank you, Mike, for all you do. You're one of the few boxing voices I listen to. I listened to a lot of analysts over the years. It seems I am a masochist. God bless you and your girls. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. And I'm sorry that I don't get on here a whole lot anymore. Oh, PBC shit. Okay. USC Trojans says PB shit. Now I get it. Thank you for clarifying. Again, I'm just going to leave that alone for right now. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some things related to that platform and other things very, very soon. Okay. But yeah, so I'm sorry, guys, I'm not getting on as much right now, but man, we're in the thick of it right now with a 15-month-old and a 3-month-old. We're just in the thick of it. It's not going to be this way forever. We'll be getting back on more often once these girls grow up a little bit more. USC says Munguia is still the same guy who robbed a Eurobum, Mike. It was going to be jag-handed over as a sacrifice to Triple G. Yeah, he has improved since he was going to fight Triple G. But look, I'm with you. I'm with you that, look, is Munguia an elite level guy? No. Is Benavidez an elite level guy? I don't know. I mean, some people think he is. Sometimes he looks like he is. I don't know what to think of Benavidez because his resume is so weak. And Munguia's is too, right? But I'm just telling you guys, from a physicality standpoint, they're going to give Canelo something to think about. I really do think the fight with Crawford would be an easier fight from him from a physical perspective. Yet, skill-wise, obviously Munguia is the easiest fight of those three. So it's up to Canelo. He's in the driver's seat, and he's going to be able to go his own way and do what he wants to do and fight the guy he wants to fight. But I'm telling you, man, Canelo Munguia, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun fight. Okay, let's review what took place last week. I have a few thoughts on this Thursday night boxing. I'm not going to spend too long talking about this, but last Thursday, February 8th in Las Vegas on ESPN, Teofimo Lopez gets a unanimous decision win over Jermaine Ortiz, defends his WBO junior welterweight title. He came in as the big betting favorite. I heard it was like 5-1. It might have been even wider than that. So he was the big betting favorite. A lot of people thought that Ortiz won the fight. It was close, but in my eyes, I just felt he gave away too many late rounds and he just did not do enough. I was totally fine with Teofimo Lopez getting the decision. A lot of people out there score fights based upon their pre-fight expectations. And when one fighter's underperforming and another guy's overperforming, it changes the way they score a fight. But that's not how you score fights. You score fights based on who's doing more. And for me, just barely, the guy doing a little bit more, particularly in the second half of the fight, was Teofimo Lopez. And that's where his class helped him out and helped him shine a little bit. Shine is the wrong word. This fight sucked. This fight sucked. And quite frankly, this whole show sucked. Because in the co-main, Keyshawn Davis destroyed Jose Pedraza. That's an awesome performance from Davis in that it was a test and he passed the test with flying colors. But Pedraza fought Gervonta Davis when? I feel like that shit was almost a decade ago, but it couldn't have been. It had to be 2016, 2017, something like that, when Tank fought Pedraza, and he beat the hell out of Pedraza every bit as much as Keyshawn Davis did here. And Keyshawn Davis was fighting a guy who was healthier. He wasn't draining himself weight-wise, but he was way more beat up and past his best. So good performance from Davis, did what he was supposed to do, but I'm not going to get that excited about that win for him. Does that mean Davis is ready to contend for world titles and all that? Slow down. But the main event, really, really disappointing. And now Top Rank has done Thursday shows twice recently, featuring their young American stars, two of the members of the Fab Five, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. Both fights were won by those guys, but they disappointed. They bored everybody to death. There was nothing dynamic or exceptional about their performance that made you say, man, I got to see this guy. And I wanted to talk about this because of the Thursday night boxing thing. So there are some people out there that are like, no, man, boxing tradition is you have to fight on Saturday. And to those people, I say, read a book, because there's no such thing as this Saturday night boxing tradition. That's made up bullshit from promoters in recent years and media members who have no historical knowledge of this sport. You go back in the day, there was boxing every day of the freaking week at different times, okay? There was afternoon boxing. Dudes would literally get off on their lunch break, or guys who worked early shifts in like construction and stuff, or at the docks, whatever it is, they would go to afternoon cards at times, okay? So there was all kinds of boxing at different days, different times. This whole Saturday, it's got to be Saturday night. That's nonsense. So I like the idea of Thursday night boxing. Here's the thing. It's a weeknight. People have to get up and go to work on Friday morning. And even if you're not working right now and you're off of work, or, you know, you're on leave, paternity leave, because you have young babies. You know, like I got to get up at 7 in the morning because my little girls get up and they don't give a shit if I'm tired, if I'm sick, whatever. They want to eat, they want to play, they want to do their thing, right? It is simply not worth it for me to stay up till Friday morning, because that's when the main event takes place with these cards, right? Takes place at midnight, 12:30, whatever. And by the time the fight's over and you watch the post-fight interviews and all this, it's going on 2 o'clock in Friday morning. It simply is not worth it to me to stay up that late, where the next day I'm going to be tired as shit with all my responsibilities and all the things I got to do. It's not worth it for me to stay up to watch that shit. It's just not. Not only was the fight a showcase fight, again, look at the betting odds going in. It's a showcase fight. We all knew who was going to win. And some of you guys are like, I thought Ortiz was going to win. No, you didn't. Shut up. No, you didn't. Everybody thought Lopez was going to win. Okay, there's all this 2020 hindsight. I thought Jermaine Ortiz was going to pull it off all along. Really? Show me the receipts. Show me your gambling slips. Oh, you heroes on social media the day after. You guys all knew that Teofimo Lopez was going to win this fight. Even if you thought that Jermaine Ortiz was going to fight him well or make it close, you knew who was going to get the damn decision. You know who the A side is coming in. That's why the odds makers had the odds the way they did. Part of the way odds makers do odds isn't necessarily who they feel is going to win the fight in reality. It's who they feel is going to win the fight on the scorecards. You feel me? So keep that shit in mind. All right. If you're going to do, and look, I know some of the guys from Top Rank listen to this show. Some of the guys that work over at Top Rank, I know because we talk offline. Guys, a humble suggestion from a consumer of your product. If you're going to do Thursday night boxing, actually do it on Thursday night. I think the show started at like 10 o'clock here. 10 o'clock. Man, that's 10 o'clock to watch that, just showcase after showcase, to watch Keyshawn Davis beat the shit out of a zombie who needs to retire. And Pedraza, no disrespect, very good fighter, has done a tremendous service for a lot of young guys coming up and been that gatekeeper level dude that they needed to beat to show that they were moving on to the next level. So I give him so much credit, and he's carved out a fantastic career for himself, but he's a shell of himself. You guys can't tell me he didn't look shot to hell in that fight. He needs to retire. If you're going to put on that card, how about it starts at the latest? It should start 7 p.m. The show should run from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, meaning show starts at 7, main event goes on at 9 p.m., fight's done by like 9:45 or whatever. You have a post-fight interview, wrap up with Bernardo Suna and all Timothy Bradley, all those guys, and the broadcast is wrapped by 10 p.m. That is the way weekday boxing should be produced. That would make sense. People get home from work, they eat dinner, they get their kids fed, they get changed, take a shower, whatever they're going to do. Now it's 6:30, 7 o'clock. Boom, there's some boxing on. Oh, shit. Okay, let's check this out. If you got to put your kids to bed, 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock while the undercard's on. Okay, cool. You get all that done. You're wrapped up by 8, 8:30. You can relax and watch when the co-main and the main event are going on. That is the way it should work. And I understand that there's this, well, this was on ESPN, the Prime network. I got you. And there's a sophistication to that compared to putting a show on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes. I got you. I, as a consumer who is paying for your product, okay, I'm not the casual fan. I'm not the guy that's just tuning in and just flipping channels. Oh, boxing. I've seen the Rocky movies. Let's watch this. I'm not that guy that you're hoping to get, which, by the way, is a fucking pipe dream that you guys got to get over. Boxing promoters, you are no longer fighting for casual fans. They've let you know how they feel about this sport. They're gone. They're going to tune in a few times a year for the 3 or 4 guys that actually break through, and it's mostly through social media now. And those names are Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, and in North America, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, Jake Paul, and maybe Gervonta Davis, just barely, but he's nowhere near as big as those other guys. That's it. You promoters are fighting over die-hard boxing fans now. You're splitting us up because there's so much content. The market is oversaturated. So now you guys aren't fighting over casuals to tune in. You're fighting over diehards to tune in. That's the reality. Look at the fucking numbers. Look at the ratings. Okay? So I would rather, I'm telling you as a consumer, I would rather you have a fight card on from 7 to 10 p.m. on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes on the sister network. And I get it. The ad revenue is different. I get all that. I'd rather see it there if that's what you got to do. that put it on super late on ESPN, because guess what? I didn't watch the Shakur Stevenson card. It wasn't worth it to me. I watched a day or two later on YouTube or on the app, whatever it is. There are fewer and fewer cards that are worth it for me to watch live. And I'm not alone in that. You have to put on, now look, if I talked earlier about Jaime Munguia versus David Benavidez, if that fight's on, yeah, I'm going to stay up late and watch that shit. That's right. Fury Usyk, I don't have to stay up late. Beterbiev, Bivol, I don't have to stay up late because they're going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia. But if they were fighting here in America or North America and it was on late, I'd stay up. For that kind of fight, yeah, I'll stay up. But for this shit, no. That's why your ratings are dog shit. So if you're going to put on showcases, at least put it on at a time where it makes sense to watch it, because it's Thursday night. What the hell else is on? I'm putting on some Netflix documentary. I'm putting on Cocaine Cowboys and watching that for the 100th time because there ain't shit on TV, right? TV sucks. Put something on that I can watch in prime time like a normal human being. I might check it out. But if you keep putting on shows like this and the main event don't start till the next day, your ratings are going to continue to suck. Just a humble suggestion from a consumer of your product. Okay. Speaking of fights that no one really gives a shit about, and I'm not going to stay up late to watch, we have another Thursday night card. This one, this Thursday on the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. From Commerce, California, Golden Boy Promotions on DAZN, a platform I have not been subscribed to for quite some time. Joseph Diaz Jr. going up against Mexican native Jesus Perez at 140 pounds. Diaz has lost 3 of his last 4 going back to 2021. Perez has lost 5 of his last 8 going back to 2017. So in terms of overall importance for the sport, this fight is not very meaningful. But style-wise, matchup-wise, Mexican versus Mexican-American-wise, it should be a lot of fun. They do, Golden Boy does shows out there that Casino and Commerce very, very often, very frequently. The people there in that community enjoy those cards. They go out, so they always do a fun little crowd there. It's a good atmosphere. It's fun. Am I going to stay up late and watch this? No. If it's on at a decent time, I would. But anyway, again, I like the Thursday night cards. I like it. Just put it on at a time that makes sense. You know, Pro Box does so good with that. Pro Box puts on weekday boxing and they do it right. They do it right. I don't know why other platforms don't look at what they're doing and be like, okay, let's give this a try. This Friday, February 16th, Matchroom on DAZN. They have a card from Mexico with a junior flyweight title bout on there. It's a decent fight. Then Madison Square Garden, New York, Top Rank has a show on ESPN where O'Shaquie Foster, the second defense of his WBC junior lightweight belt, the vacant belt, it was Shakur Stevenson. Was it Shakur Stevenson? Yeah, it was Shakur Stevenson's, and became vacant when he got stripped. Foster won that. This is his second defense going up against Abraham Nova. Decent fight, decent matchup. Again, though, if the main event goes on at 12:45, yeah, I'm not watching it. I'll catch it later. None of those fights are good enough where I'm like, yeah, I got to stay up and watch it. You know what I'm saying? The next fight coming up that I think is any sort of breakthrough kind of fight that's going to draw mainstream interest is in March between Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, March 8th in Riyadh. That fight and the whole card that they have there, they have some interesting fights on the undercard. That's something that I'll look forward to. Depending on the pricing and all that, I might check it out. I'm not going to pay $80 for that, but if they have it priced at $40 or something, I might check it out. Okay. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything before we bounce off of here. Before my daughter wakes up from her nap. Let's see. Timmy Turner says Saudi cards are the best. Main event at 8 p.m. in Europe and overall stacked fight cards. Yeah, bro. I'm loving it. Look, do I think that these Saudi cards are going to be a regular thing years from now? No, I think that this is a temporary thing. And you see these waves in boxing all the time, right? People get involved for a little while, they spend a bunch of money, but they usually fizzles out. That's probably what's going to happen here. But while these cards are now, look, Saudi Arabia will be involved in boxing going forward. I mean, you're just going to see more and more boxing over in that part of the world. I do believe that. But are we going to be getting all these big fights all the time? I don't know about that. Either way, I'm going to enjoy this stuff while it lasts because these fights are on at a decent time. I can watch them Saturday afternoons, early Saturday evening. It works out great and they're fun. So yeah, man, I'm with you. All right. Let's see. What else? Oh, Timmy brings up another good point here. I thought it was interesting when Naoya Inoue said that Gervonta Davis is pound for pound worthy and should be ranked a little higher in a pound for pound rating. I didn't see that part, but I did see the part where he talked about Stephen Fulton and American boxers not liking to get hit much. He basically kind of called American fighters soft. I thought that was interesting. RP says, great mention about boxing time slots. I'm in California and I still fell asleep during the main event. Dude, I miss watching sports in California because, yeah, man, like the fights would be over, and this is, before I had kids and all that. I was single. Fights would be over, and it's like I would be working a fight card at StubHub or Staples, whatever, and it'd be done. And I'd wrap up, do my post-production, get everything off to my editor. And you're at Staples Center, you're in downtown LA, man. There's so much going on all the time down there, right? At least when I lived there. It's not quite the same right now, but the last couple of years. But man, we go out afterwards. I'd have my laptop and just throw it in my backpack, and we just go out, hit the bars, and just have fun, man. And some of the guys I was on the beat with, you guys know these names, friends of ours. We'd hang out after the fights, have a great time, man. It was awesome. Can't do that here. Just can't do that here. Hardcore Troubadour says, good day from Alberta, chaps. Rarely see TNC live. So glad to be here. So glad that you're here. And I was glad to be able to do this and jump on real quick. Just for those of you just now getting on, I just wanted to recap. Not taking calls today. I didn't have a lot of time to talk, so I just wanted to jump on here for like 40 minutes. I'm going to go here in a minute. But I wanted to catch up on fight schedule coming together, give my thoughts on what Canelo might be doing, and bring up, a great month of action if we get Canelo on May 4th, because you get Canelo versus whoever, and then Fury Usyk and Beterbiev Bivol within a month, dude. That's awesome. So I just wanted to talk about that. And I wanted to review and preview the fights coming up for the rest of this month and what we recently saw, because it's just relevant to the overall discussion, man. Boxing just kind of needs I don't know, dude. I hate to use the word overhaul, but just a couple little tweaks, man. It's like, I'm struggling to find the right analogy, but right now, boxing's always had a million issues, right? You're not going to fix everything. I'm not even talking about that. Even with all its issues that we accept, all the bullshit, all the nonsense, it feels like it's an old car struggling to start up in the morning, right? You turn it and it's just like right the starter, and finally it starts up, right? Or you're puttering down the street. It's slipping when you shift gears. It just needs a tune-up. It needs to go to the shop. It needs a tune-up. Maybe it needs a transmission loop, something. But it just right now, I just feel like it's just laboring. And week in and week out, we're getting fights like Lopez Ortiz, Diaz Perez, even Foster versus Nova. Like, yawn. That's just where I'm at right now. I know I'm not alone. Yeah. All right, guys. Real quick. Hard Times Boxing asks, any confirmation on Canelo requiring PBC to put his guarantee in escrow prior to a second fight? I'm going to close with that comment because, look, all I'm going to say, do I have the absolute information? No, I don't. Am I in the boardrooms and in these conversations? No. I've talked to people in the know. I've heard things. In the coming days and weeks, news is going to drop as it relates to Canelo Alvarez, as it relates to PBC and other things. Okay. I'll leave it at that. The reason why I wanted to do this catch-up show today is because when that news drops, I want to dedicate a show to it. All right, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with me on a Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll do it again soon. Peace.